Hi, I'm Anne from Game Like a Mother. I specialize in games that can be played in 20 minutes or less, and this is my October game chat. A key focus of my channel, in addition to the 20-minute games that are really easy to fit into your life, is that I really consider the importance of the target demographic or audience of a game when I'm talking about the game. It really drives me crazy when someone will say, "Oh, that's just a bad game." And I'll say, "Well, it's not meant for you. It's not a bad game. It's just not for you." A lot of the kid games, sometimes they'll sacrifice a little bit of strategy in the name of teaching an educational skill like math or memory. And as long as the game accomplishes what it's setting out to do and the kids enjoy the game, then I call that a successful game. And then other games, like a lot of the Exploding Kittens games, are wildly popular within a certain demographic of kids. And for me, I loathe throw burrito. But it is not meant for me. I don't want to play a game with my kids where they're throwing little squishy burrito toys at my face as part of the game. But other cooler parents say that they enjoy it and don't mind it at all, so good on them. But that's one of the things that I hope you'll see, that when you're playing a game, it's important to consider who it's meant for, and I really try to cover that whenever I talk about a game. So now I get to talk about games we've been playing. There have been a few of them. And first off, I get to talk about Sleeping Queens 2, The Rescue, and talk about your target demographic. Basically, this game is for anyone who has played and loved Sleeping Queens, which is everybody loves Sleeping Queens. It's one of the most popular kid board games out there. It is so fun. I would say Sleeping Queens 2 does not replace Sleeping Queens. I would still, if you were going to pick one to start with, or if you were going to pick one to have in your house, I would still pick Sleeping Queens. However, Sleeping Queens 2 is so good. It kind of flips the concept for Sleeping Queens, where instead of trying to collect the queens and save the queens are saving the kings this time around, and you get to collect little companion cards in order to do so. And I really like that in this one, the cards that you're adding together to make little math equations, in this, they don't serve just to get rid of cards and you get to draw new cards in your hand. They are what allow you to draw the companion cards that you need in order to get the king. So they serve a little bit more of a purpose. I also really like in this one, there's a bit of stealing of queens in regular Sleeping Queens, and this it's more trading. It's very rare to just steal a card, and you can't ever steal the king cards, the winning cards. Once you have them, they are in your hand forever. You can trade cards from different hands, and you can trade the companion cards very rarely, but that's it. So it's really good. We're really into it. We have, and we've been playing it pretty much nightly. So we just got it, but we've played it at least 10 times. We've shown it to friends. We're all in on this. And it's interesting because some kids, I ask them afterwards, okay, which one do you prefer? Do you like Sleeping Queens and Sleeping Queens 2, The Rescue? And it's pretty evenly split. But half seem to really still prefer Sleeping Queens, although they like this one. And then the other half say, oh yeah, there's just a little bit more for Sleeping Queens 2. It does take up more table space. It's not just like a few cards out. There's a bit more of a spread for it, but it's really good and very highly recommend you should go check it out if you love Sleeping Queens. The other games we've been playing is the OP Games sent me a Marvel Dice Throne to check out. So I've got these two and then the big box, and we've played this a few times, enough to know I love it, and it's probably going to be one of my top 10 games for the year because I love it's like a battle game, and I got a character out. You get like Black Widow, and then they come with, they have a trifold board, and you're doing different dice rolls. It's kind of, people have called it like Battle Yahtzee, but it's that, but like up to a couple levels, and there's more going on, and you're trying to get different dice combinations, and then you're able to do different attacks on your opponents, but then they have special dice rolls to defend against those attacks, and you have special powers and abilities that are unique to each player. They have unique dice, they have unique decks, but there's enough similarities so you can hop from character to character to deck. And once you have the base of the game down, it's pretty quick to pick up, okay, what's different for this character. So they have a sheet with their different powers. I mean, there's a bit. So I will say the first time we played this, we play a fair amount of games. We're pretty good at picking up new rules. It took us about an hour and a half to play through this the first time we did. But then for teaching it to other people, because I already knew how to play it, they didn't have to read in the rules. So it's just like, okay, do this. Now you have a choice, this and this. So it was really quick and really fun. But I love it. I love it. Really excited about it. And I asked on my Facebook group, some of my local board game people, okay, how would you compare this to Unmatched? Because I think that's another battling game that's very popular. And it was interesting because it was pretty split between the two, where people really, really love this game, but they also really, really love the other game. A lot of people said, oh, those are like my two top, those are the two games that I play the most. But I will say between the two, Unmatched requires a little bit more of a buy-in, where it seems like we really like it. We have, I think, 11 different boxes. There's a couple here. And that's a pretty big buy-in to get a bunch of different characters because, like the name suggests, the characters are unmatched. And so to have a good battle, you say, well, clearly you can't have Spike battle against Bruce Lee. Spike will lose immediately. So if you have certain characters you really can't pair against each other, that's a little more limiting. And this, you can pick any character and have it battle another character. So I really like that about it. And it just plays really well, and we're really, really into it. So I just want to play it constantly. Very excited about it. The other games we have here are some social games. We have Hand-to-Hand Wombat from the makers of Exploding Kittens, and I really like this one. Sometimes Exploding Kittens is a little bit, it's not for me, but this one is hysterical. It's been so fun to play with my kids and with friends' kids. I got sent this by Triazon, who partnered with Exploding Kittens to send out a game. And in this one, you are trying to build a block tower, and you have to have your eyes closed and use one hand to do it, which sounds challenging enough. Well, there's a wicked wombat in your midst who's trying to make it so you don't build towers. And they're moving the box around. They're taking pieces off of completed towers. They're putting wrong pieces on. They're covering up what they're doing. They're just making carnage and chaos. And this game, it is fun to play, but it might be even more fun to watch because it is hilarious. All these kids sitting around trying to build a thing frantically in a time limit while somebody's going the other direction. And you get these mild-mannered kids that just take to the wicked wombat role with glee, which is hilarious to watch. So it's great. Sometimes it can be hard to find a social game that the kids are into, and so much are they into this one, and we are really excited about it. I'm taking it to a Girl Scout camp out, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be all about it. So it's really, really fun. And then we have a few adult social games that was sent by the OP Games through Triazon to me. Hughes Cues, which we had played before, and I really like how this one is. It's a nice social game where it is so mellow and easy, and it's quick to get up and running. The gameplay is actually quite challenging. You're trying to describe a color you get one word and then you get two words. And you got to kind of settle into the game a little bit. And some rounds you're going to be very successful, and some rounds nobody's going to have any clue what you think. And it just has to be funny when, like my example is, I tried to tell my clue was sherbet for my parents because I was trying to get them to guess like a bright pink. And you can use all sorts of words besides all the basic color terms, which, gosh, it's hard to describe colors without using colors sometimes. And they went over to orange, which is not at all what I expected because we only ever get pink sherbet. And then I thought they were being ridiculous. And then I went to the grocery store the next day and there was only orange sherbet there. So perhaps that is the more common sherbet, but it was just fun. You enjoy it. That's the whole point of a social game. You're having fun, laughing, and it's just quick and easy to play. And then the new one they sent out that I was so excited about was Ven. And Ven, I really enjoy. You're trying to get you have a Venn diagram and you're trying to get your team to guess your three secret words, and you're doing it by flipping out these picture cards that they already have, and you put them onto the spot, and they have a list of words on the side, and they're trying to say, okay, which one matches up with the picture that they've put out. And it works better than you think it should. And what I really like about this is there's cooperative and competitive modes of play, so you can match your audience. And also this works for 2 people because you can play cooperative with 2 people and it works perfectly. And social games are usually 3 players and up, and some of them kind of work with 3 players and some of them don't really. Like Codenames is one of the really popular social games, and I love Codenames. But if you're playing regular Codenames, it doesn't work at 2 player, and 3 players is really awkward. You have to have 4, and then it gets harder at higher player counts. And this, you could have 10 people. You split them into 2 groups. They're competing against each other. One person is giving clues, and then you have 4 people trying to work together to guess. So you're able to break it down depending on the size of the group much better. And it's really good, and you need some good social games in your collection. And so we've really been enjoying these. And finally, it was my husband's birthday this month. So of course that meant he got board games. And I did a really good job, mostly because I checked with him first. And, well, this one we've had, but we finally played around his birthday. It's called Fantasy Realms, and it kind of has a cult following among people who play a lot of board games, and we've been putting off playing it because it says that it's 3 to 6 or 3 to 8 players on the 3 to 6 players on the box. And then I found out that it's great at 2 players. So we finally played it, and it's so easy to play, but it's endlessly interesting. For each round you play, you're just trying to maximize your score between these different cards, and you get different bonuses depending on what cards you have. And so you're just discarding cards, drawing new cards, deciding what to keep until there are 10 cards in the discard, and that's all there is to it. But the gameplay is so good. So this is probably going to be one of my top 10 favorite games for this year. Like it's so good. And we'd had this for ages and just finally played it. So it's excellent. Then we got, my husband's favorite game is Railroad Inc. And we got him the Engineer expansion dice. And he is an engineer, and he would like to say that he loves these, and well done, stamp of approval by a real engineer. It allows you to do different things to the dice, to change them, move them. And so now, and then he got himself one of the other big boxes that we didn't have of it. He plays the app version of it every day. It has little challenge courses that you can do. And I want to talk about the different app versions of games for one of these talks, because there's a lot of just really well done ones out there. And usually I'm all for playing it in person. That's the whole point of games, is the time together as family. But it's also nice to have an app version if you're, going on a trip by yourself, or you have a few minutes in the evening on your own. And Railroad Inc. is really good. And stamp of approval for these. Color Fox I got for him because I'd heard of Helvetique games, and it sounded like an interesting concept. You're trying to get these little matchstick cards and line them up, and then you collect cute little, like, real matchsticks for the game, and it doesn't play well, and it's kind of a dud for us. So I know they have a lot of really games, but I was pretty disappointed by this one. It's kind of like a grid of dominoes that you're making, and there's a reason why there's not usually a grid of dominoes, because it's really hard to have the exact right one to fit into spots that are more than 1 or 2 connecting pieces. So it's just really hard to have anything kind of good happen in this game. So, oops, didn't do as well on that one. This is still in the shrink wrap. We haven't gotten to play it yet, but Pandasaurus is an Austin, Texas-based game company, and they make a lot of really great games that I've covered on my YouTube channel and website. And this is a roll and write, and it seems like that's kind of one of our favorite things to do, because you just get the same dice or whatever, and you're trying to maximize your score. But then they have different challenges that you're doing along the way. And this, I think my daughter would play this with us, because it's like climbing themed, and it has different levels of play. There's Trek Expedition in solo mode too. And they have challenge envelopes you get to open up. So the company does stuff really well, and this just seemed right up our alley, so I'm excited to try it out. And then we got Longshot, the dice game. This is kind of like a more strategic camel up, which is one of our favorites. Camel up, you're betting on camels as they're going around and they stack, and you're rolling dice out of this tower, and it's just kind of hysterical. And there's some strategy, but there's a lot of luck too. Some of the camels you can get on the silly camel that's going the wrong way. So it's really fun. It's one of his favorite games to play on game night on game nights with anyone, especially guy game nights. And I've heard really great things about Longshot. Apparently, it's a little more strategic and not just camels doing whatever camels do. So this has been very fancy, and I was very excited to be able to get my hands on one because they've been difficult to come by. So good job me for his birthday. So that's it for the October game chat. I feel like it was a really great October for games, and we are hyped up for the holidays, and we have a lot of great content coming for that. So thank you so much, and stay tuned for more. We'll see you next time from Game Like a Mother.